Tonight on Joy News Prime, coronavirus pandemic fight encounters resistance in Obuasi as residents suggesting the disease is being blown out of proportion through caution to the wind.
Social distance and I'm a so I will give you and can you can't social distance no can't you see mama and care for so.
Well, it comes even as Ghana's coronavirus cases spikes to 4,012 days after the Ghana Health Service says that Ghana had seen the worst of the pandemic. We'll be bringing you the details also in the bulletin. Counterfeit drugs, which the World Health Organization says is being passed off as chloroquine in developing countries following its adoption as one of the emergency treatment drugs for COVID-19, may have found its way onto markets in Accra and Kumasi.
Nobody can serve the drug unless he has been given the go-ahead to do so. So generally at the moment, we don't just go to the pharmacy. It's not a first aid drug.
Also in this bulletin, government meanwhile fought off claims it is giving Ghanaians false hope that the coronavirus pandemic is under control in the country.
The misinformation, deliberate distortions, and warped analysis put out by the NDC flag bearer had been bemoaned and roundly condemned by many well-meaning Ghanaians.
And would you as a parent allow your child to return to school next week if the ban on all forms of school gatherings is lifted this weekend?
For now, dear, no. Because the sickness going on is very real.
And in business,
EU blacklists Ghana over money laundering breaches.
Also in the bulletin, the bizarre story of a woman who, in an attempt to contract an assassin to kill her husband, mistakenly called up a police commander, has been remanded together with her lover. I'm Israel Aye, and remember, Joy News Prime is live on digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air.
And my name is Aisha Ibrahim, coming to you live in our studios in Kokomlemle on digital address GA09925939 on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144.
Well, in some breaking news coming through in the last few minutes, the number of COVID-19 cases in Ghana is now at 4,012. This comes days after the Ghana Health Service indicated that the country had seen the worst of the coronavirus pandemic. We'll share with you the statistics in a moment. So, as you can see from the Ghana Health Service website, dedicated COVID-19 website, the confirmed cases are 4,012 with 323 recoveries and 18 deaths. And if we could just have a look at the regional breakdown will give us an indication which regions have recorded the worst. Of course, Greater Accra has the most, and followed by the Eastern and Ashanti region. We'll give you the details in a bit. But this comes shortly after the Ministry of Information had organized a news conference to fight off claims by the minority in Parliament that it is giving Ghanaians false hope that the coronavirus pandemic is under control in the country. Deputy Information Minister Pius Enam Hajide says government's approach has so far been effective and successful. Minority Leader Haruna Idris on Thursday accused government of engaging in a public relations gimmick to create a false sense of security, which is not the reality on the ground. But Mr. Hajide says this view is misinformed.
The misinformation, deliberate distortions, and warped analysis put out by the NDC flag bearer had been bemoaned and roundly condemned by many well-meaning Ghanaians. Just days ago, the presidential candidate of the NDC, Mr. John Mahama, in one of his COVID-19 political broadcasts on Facebook, embarrassed himself by ignorantly questioning why the government had accessed an IMF facility, claiming that no other African country had done so, an outright fabrication from a man who had occupied the high office of president a few years ago. 20 other African countries, including all the ones Mahama specifically listed, have assessed the IMF facility of $18 billion for African countries to help cushion them through the crisis. Indeed, the facility is interest-free and without the suffocating conditionalities that the IMF imposed on Ghana when forced by a toxic mixture of incompetence and insensitivity. Mr. Mahama and the NDC went to the IMF for a bailout and policy credibility. It is clear that the NDC minority was only called in to do damage control. Whilst it may ordinarily be a good thing for the NDC minority to have found their bearing and a voice several weeks after Ghana started confronting and containing the COVID-19 pandemic, it is pathetic that even upon hindsight, the minority is still unable to offer any pragmatic alternatives, but merely rehash those same lame queries that Mr. Mahama has asked during his political broadcasts on Facebook.
All right, you're watching Joy News Prime. Let's go back to the breaking news we're having that's coming through in the last few minutes, which is the fact that the number of COVID-19 cases in Ghana has spiked to 4,012, and this is happening just days after the Ghana Health Service had indicated that the country has seen the worst of the coronavirus pandemic. So the regional breakdown is as follows. The Greater Accra region has the most cases. That's 3,436. 3,436 confirmed cases in the Greater Accra region alone. Now, remember a few days ago, before this spike happened, the total number of cases for the entire country stood at 3,091. Essentially, Greater Accra region has more than that. Now, the Ashanti region has 210 cases. Eastern region has 96 cases. The Central region has 58 cases. Western region 56. Western North region 56. Western region 35. Volta region 32. Upper East region 26, OT region 24, Upper West region 20, Northern region 16, Northeast region 2, Bono region 1, and the rest of the region, Savannah region, Ahafo region, Bono East region, they have 0. Now, efforts to fight the coronavirus pandemic is coming up again. Some major hindrance in the mining town of Obuasi, where people don't believe the virus is anything to worry about. The town currently accounts for 56 COVID-19 cases, almost a third of the 189 cases recorded in the Ashanti region. Well, that figure is likely to change following the updates that was just released by the Ghana Health Service. Now, local authorities say such residents are being reckless, largely because of the misconception, and are disregarding the preventive protocols as a result. My colleague Ohiming Teya of our health discuss more in the following report.
Out of 43,611 cumulative specimens collected in all districts in Ashanti, Obuasi accounts for the highest number of over 4,000. The town is the first in the region to have begun contact tracing, after recording the first confirmed COVID-19 case. With support from mining giant AngloGold Ashanti, Obuasi has a strong COVID-19 task force whose control and command center provides 24-hour support service. Same, however, cannot be said of the attitude of the public, especially market women. They exhibit their doubts about existence of coronavirus by flouting with impunity every social distance protocol, exposing the town's 220,000 population to risk.
Yeah, was a funny work room, man. Ye old Jomuno, Titu. Ye ni say Aliana Ewo. Obuasi find a new way. Yate. That's one more I need to say. I was social distance. And I'm a boy. So I will give you and can you can't social distance. No, can't you see I mamma and care for Faroso? Uba will be. And Nama Yeton, I say I whole life.
Ebi no mo ji atinyi say. Wo mo abanyi na ye hu nipa no. Ye ne abibifo se me to na dwene na yale bia ya mea. Na sa ban abefa me kwa no yi mea ba me to na dwene bia ma ya nto. Me ye nsate ya nipa. Sa na abibifo te. Ye de nsa ba kira mto sa ma me wei. Yale no bi ya no, ye de ne kwa ha ene sei ebe se nkwai. Enkwala kura hu me on be dwane.
The situation has compelled local authorities to close to business. Two major markets which share about 3,000 traders between them. Obuasi Municipal Chief Executive Elijah Adansibona tells Joy News people openly demand to see COVID-19 patients to be convinced. He describes such negative attitude as worrying amid the national effort to overcome the pandemic.
They don't really believe the existence of the virus. I'm telling you. They think that if indeed the virus, where are the people? They've been asking us, where are the people? Show us where they live. But we cannot do that because of stigmatization. If you tell them that, oh, Mr. Simesi has got it, people run away from the person, and some can even commit suicide. So it is something we would never do. But we want the people to know that the virus is real and we should not play with it.
Local government and health authorities are nonetheless intensifying public sensitization. Mr. Adansibona warns he may be compelled to recommend a lockdown of Obuasi if disregard for laid down protocols continue.
If the people are not ready to go by what we are putting out, then I'll also be compelled to suggest to authorities that Obuasi should be, because we cannot defy others and say we are safe. We are not. So if we get to that point, yes, if I'm supposed to recommend, I will do that. But for now, let's implement what we've put together and see.
From Obuasi, Ohimintewia reporting.
Well, the COVID-19 case count in Obuasi has just been updated to 98. That's up from the figure that had been recorded at the time of the report of 56. The figure for the entire Ashanti region now stands at 210, as I indicated earlier. Moving on, Deputy Information Minister Pius Enam Hajide says government has received proposals to reconsider the closure of the country's borders. This follows calls by some musicians, the minority in parliament, and some legal experts for the borders to be reopened. Several legal experts who contributed during an online seminar on law in crisis on Thursday had argued the border closure affects the primary rights of the citizens stranded abroad to return to their country whenever they want to. Mame Abna Mensabonsu, a PhD in law candidate at Oxford University, said the closure of the border to citizens makes them equivalent to criminals.
The most fundamental right of citizenship is to be in the country. That is the most basic right. It's the one place on the planet that you have a right at any point in time to be in. And I understand the pandemic has caused concerns about what we're bringing in when we come in. Nevertheless, we do have a very basic right to be here. And it's not just a pedantic concern. So consider a Ghanaian who went abroad for a function, who went on a 6-month visa, who is stuck there because the borders to Ghana are closed, and now by the operation of their own state, they are a criminal in somebody else's country. To me, it's a big concern. We did do some mandatory quarantining, and I understand that it's expensive, and so there may be concerns about the cost involved. But for the state of Ghana to make a Ghanaian a criminal in another country, I think that at its core, that makes you wonder why you should be a Ghanaian then. So I think the restriction of the movement into Ghana by non-citizens, if you look at the act itself, it specifically says entry into Ghana of persons who are not citizens. If you look in the Constitution, all of the movement restriction options say persons who are not citizens.
At a news conference Friday, Mr. Hajide said though a decision is yet to be taken, the matter of the border closure is up for consideration.
There is a task force made up of experts who are advising the president daily at the meetings that he chairs himself every evening at 6 p.m. All these proposals are being considered, and decisions that are in the interest of the country as a whole will be taken. There are risks to all of the options that are available, and you have to balance and be calculated in taking those decisions. And so, as we speak now, I am not aware of a decision that has been made to allow persons from outside of the jurisdiction to enter into the jurisdiction. The ban, the closure of our borders are still in force, but I know also that various other scenarios are being considered. And as and when, in the wisdom of the president and his advisors, it becomes important and that the risks of fresh importations are minimized, I can assure you that, and that decision made, I can assure you that we will make it available for you.
Meanwhile, public health experts are warning against the reopening of Ghana's borders too soon, describing it as a gamble that's too risky. Doctors at the West African College of Physicians, who are also frontline health workers, say the country could see an influx of infection of persons. Secretary General of the West African College of Physicians, Ghana, Dr. Albert Akpalu, who is also at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where coronavirus cases have been recorded, describes the reopening of borders as a big risk.
From the public health perspective, we will not encourage that for now. We need to contain what we have within our borders now and get a handle of that. Continue to contact trace, continue to test as many people as possible until we are certain and where these people are coming from as well. If we are certain other places, the incidents or the new cases of the infection are going down and we're a bit comfortable. But for now, it will be difficult and we will not advise that we do that. We still need to keep our borders closed for the time that we have set for ourselves until we see our way a bit clearer.
Well, Vice President of the Association, Professor Alfred Yorson, says containing the infections within our borders at the moment should be our priority for now.
So we encourage government to take these social mitigation and other policies carefully and weigh the pros, the benefits, and weigh the costs. Yes, if we open our borders now, we get an influx, we're going to have a second wave. Our officials say the cases are coming down. Yes, but we have 25 million plus. We've tested just a fraction. What about the asymptomatic cases? How are we going to catch them? When you open a school and just one asymptomatic person enters and spreads the virus, that's it. The virus has a different way of manifesting itself in different people. I can have it and be fine, and somebody next to me can have it and die the next day. So it's a big risk, it's a big gamble we are taking. My advice to government is wait a while, listen, yes, but tarry in making that decision.
The current ban on all forms of social gatherings as part of efforts to curb the spread of coronavirus expires this Sunday. And unless the restrictions are renewed, Ghanaians should be free to go about their business as usual. This should also mean schools, churches and mosques, which have been shut for several weeks now, should be able to reopen. The Ghana Health Service, meanwhile, has in recent days indicated Ghana may have seen the worst of COVID-19 pandemic, fueling speculations that indeed government is contemplating lifting the restrictions. Now, some parents Joy News has been speaking with, however, say they don't intend to send their children to school yet, arguing they don't believe the schools are safe enough.
It's better for them to go to school, but For now, dear, no. Because the sickness going on, it's very real. It's very real. It's not easy. So for now, I have to wait for everything should clear. Then we see that we are safe or not before they should be allowed to go to school. When I see that everything is all right, everybody is moving, safe, everything safe, I will allow them to go. Yeah. When the sickness decreases or maybe it's out from the system, yeah, they have to go. Yeah.
My siblings, I will not accept, and they will never be safe because the country, in quotes, we are not safe. This pandemic is still in existence. The coronavirus is still in existence. It has not ended yet. And the number keep increasing. Recovering are few. And those who are having the cases are still high. So the president, I don't think, will never come on Sunday to raise the issue that churches can open, schools and social gathering can still be, pubs and bars can still open. I'm never sure. And even if he should, for me, I will not advise any fellow, any friend to accept that. And I'm never sure he will even say that.
Who knows the best? So if he says the children should go back to school, we don't have anything to say. Before he will announce it, he knows what maybe his advisors has been advised. He has been advised what to do and what not to do. So if he says the children should go to school, maybe after Sunday, I don't have a problem. We need to, as he's been updating us on this, the same thing that we should, yes. So I don't have any problem with if the president says the children should go to school. Because if he doesn't have any, he has not been advised, he won't come out to say certain. So that's it.
They will not help our children, and as the parents, it will be difficult to protect them from the virus should they return to school. The president shouldn't relax the restrictions.
COVID cases continue to increase. How will teachers avoid the spread in a class of 40 to 50 pupils? It will not help if schools should be reopened.
Away from the ban on social gatherings, but still on coronavirus, the adoption of chloroquine as one of the drugs used in the emergency treatment of COVID-19 has led to an influx of many counterfeits with apparently serious side effects. The WHO has already warned of fake chloroquine in circulation in developing countries. Love News's checks indicate some of the substandard medications may have found its way onto the markets of Accra and Kumasi. Incidentally, this comes just about when Exim Bank Ghana announced a $5 million facility to be given to local manufacturers to produce hydroxychloroquine. Kwesi Deborah has more.
Okay, when we talk about hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine, initially chloroquine was one of the main drugs that were used for the management of malaria in our part of the world. But because of some of the abuses and all that, we became resistant to the malaria parasite, so it was really taken out of the essential drug list. So if you look at the Ghana essential drug list, chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine is not in it.
Apart from its anti-malarial prowess, chloroquine is effective against rheumatoid arthritis and lupus erythematosus, among others.
Chloroquine is known to kind of produce a slight suppression of the immune system, and so based on that, it has been recommended and used for the management of autoimmune diseases, which are characterized by the body's own immune system attacking the body itself. So if you have a drug that is able to suppress that, then you could derive some kind of relief, and chloroquine does that.
When the journal Nature's Finding finally confirmed the new virus to be a relative of 2003 SARS, And 2005 report in the journal Virology revealed chloroquine's antiviral arsenal.
Chloroquine, being a basic compound, is said to be able to increase the pH of the cytosol. Okay, so this increase in pH of cytosol serves to inhibit the release of the genetic material from the viruses. So it kind of reduces the ability of the virus to cause the host cell to replicate the viral particles.
Pressure started mounting on local and foreign pharmacies. The Ghana Pharmaceutical Society had to come in.
Nobody can serve the drug unless he has been given the go-ahead to do so. So generally at the moment, we don't just go to the pharmacy. It's not a first aid drug. It's not paracetamol that you can say, oh, I have headaches. So somebody can just dish out.
Our checks reveal the drug Samquin 100, earlier detected and disapproved by the World Health Organization, is selling for 90 cedis wholesale in Ghana. The WHO says on its website, the WHO Global Surveillance and Monitoring System on Substandard and Falsified Medical Products received 9 reports of confirmed falsified chloroquine products from 3 countries. All reported products were identified at patient level and all have been confirmed as falsified. The country where it was detected happened to be Niger. Unfortunately, our checks reveal Samquin 100 has made its way into health facilities in Ghana. Although the drug pack, which comprises 10 strips, bears manufacturing or expiry date of November 2019 to October 2022, respectively, it has no manufacturing address. So I tried scanning a barcode to find out where it's coming from, and this is what I found. A call to the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana and the Food and Drugs Authority reveals they are unaware of the drug circulation. For Joy News, Kwesi Debra.
And so to come in this bulletin, EU blacklists Ghana over money laundering breaches. There is more in business when we return from this break. Welcome back to Joy News Prime Time for Business. Now, Daryl Kwal is here with the very latest from the business world. Some interesting stuff there. Of course, everybody loves coconut.
The price of coconut is going to be regulated.
By who?
By a board that has been created.
Like a coconut board? Yes. Oh my goodness, take it away.
Well, that story to lighten up the mood as we deal with coronavirus. But some serious stuff first. Ghana is among 4 African countries blacklisted over money laundering concerns by the EU, which says the financial transactions of these countries require further scrutiny. Botswana, Ghana, Mauritius, and Zimbabwe were part of 12 countries placed on the EU's blacklist, but the blacklisting will have to be approved by the European Parliament in order for it to come into force in October this year. Blacklisted countries are assessed based on systemic impact on the integrity of the EU financial system. Now, performance on the Ghana Stock Exchange has been good for the first quarter of this year, despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The managing director of the exchange, Eko Afezie, however, admits that there is a drop in share prices.
It is rather more on the selling and buying of shares itself. We've had some selling pressure, so we've had indices going down, prices going down. So there are more people who want to sell than more people who want to buy. But then when you look at the statistics, most people are going to get surprised that we've had more trades between January and April in 2020 than 2019. We've traded 128 million shares from January to April as compared to only 49 million in 2019. In terms of value, we've traded 99 million cedis worth of shares compared to 72 last year. So we've had more volumes, and it's coming from the fact that people are selling.
Now, as Ghana tries to tackle issues of food security during these times of the coronavirus pandemic, there's also a push to boost organic farming. An agreement has been reached between the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana and the African Council for Organic Agriculture. Speaking after a short ceremony to begin the agreement plans, Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness, Anthony Morrison, expressed confidence that farming in Ghana will not remain the same. There is more in this report.
The agreement came about due to the sterling performance of the African Council for Organic and Sustainable Agriculture in other countries promoting good practices in farming. The partnership between the two firms will be centered on training, accreditation and certification for organic and sustainable food production. Anthony Morrison is the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana.
The objective is for us to deepen organic farming in Ghana. Not only in Ghana, but also the sub-region, and be able to use ACOSA as a knowledge partner. We have followed ACOSA for a number of years now, and we have seen how they have transformed in India, the parts they are, and how they have created an enviable market for the organic industry in India. In Ghana, we are looking at driving in investment into the agricultural organic sector. In addition to that, we want to see how we can increase the skills that are required for us to be more productive and efficient in our organic farming engagement. But primarily, it's also very important that we look at bringing in international certification into the industry.
On her part, Managing Director and founder of the Africa Council for Organic and Sustainable Agriculture, Salai Manikam, said they will bring on board the experiences on Indian technology to help boost farming in Ghana.
We have learned a lot from India, and we have been discussing with Chamber of Agribusiness as our partner to take it to the farmers. We would be a knowledge partner where we will bring in our experience and knowledge back from India, and it would be customized or designed to the requirement in Ghana by the CAG, and that's how we have joined together.
The deal will also help both associations to acquire supply chain markets in various locations across the country.
Concerned about how much you pay for coconut? Well, the price of coconut in the coming weeks, believe it or not, is expected to be regulated under a board backed by law. President of the Association of Coconut Farmers in Ghana, Patrick Ndabia, disclosed to Joy Business this move will permanently stop coconut sellers from abusing the high demand for the fruit to push up prices.
The key issue to that the Federation, the Coconut Farmers of COFA, is putting in place monitoring and evaluation unit, goods control unit, production and tanker unit, so that all these units in collaboration will be able to monitor and then keep the production going. Yes, with the opportunity of the National Trade Crop Authority, now the Federation member, and then the board in place. Now they are going to regulate the pricing across the country. This is an opportunity of GEPA supporting us that by 2024 we'll be able to increase production so that we'll be able to meet the export demand. So we will put in place all structures, machinery that will be geared towards that.
Trying to figure out how that will work. Well, that's it for business for now. Sports is up next.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the Sports on Prime with me, Oreku Wampofo. Well, it appears we took the impact of sports on our lives for granted. The routine sporting weekends have been reshaped to suit the dictates of COVID-19. But if you think you have been hardly hit by COVID-19 as a fan of the game, ask an investor. Joy Sports Hands Mentor and Muftal Nabila Abdullahi have been speaking to some investors in sport.
The three leagues, that's the Premier League, the Division 1 and the Women's League, collectively employs about 40,000 people.
There may not be signs backing the contribution of sports to Ghana's economy, but it is a known fact it contributes significantly to the country's economic fortunes. The sector employs thousands directly and indirectly, and it has not been spared by the coronavirus pandemic. There has been no sporting events since the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, announced the suspension of all social gatherings over a month ago, and this has had a profound impact on nearly all sectors, including sports. The conversation about the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on sports has been largely centered around football, with proposed pay cuts for players in Ghana's top division taking center stage. What about private individuals whose businesses are pivoted around sports? Right Sports are organizers of the annual Sprite Ball Basketball Championship, the country's premier basketball competition for second cycle institutions. They also organize UPAC Basketball Championship and the Ghana Basketball Awards.
A huge impact on our basketball activities this year. I mean, fortunately, we started with, as we do every year, we started with the Sprite Ball Championship, which was very successful. And we continue with the UPAC Basketball Championship, which we do annually for universities. And then COVID-19. And with the virus expected to linger around for a very long time to come, and considering the fact that we work with the academic calendar of the institutions, we are still confused as to when we can even resume these activities. Remember that most of the activities that you see Right Sports engage in, these activities are pre-financed. If you see us doing Sprite Ball, we need to invest money into Sprite Ball. I have to take loans from banks to finance the events.
Boxing is a major sport in Ghana. A gentleman who has paid his dues to the game and continues to do so is Alex Intiamwa, a boxing promoter and manager. His company, Box Office Promotions, employs a number of boxers. The coronavirus pandemic and the ban on sports activities have put the brakes on his business, but he continues to pay boxers and other employees. He says government must extend the hand of support to private individuals who invest directly into sports.
It has not been easy as a boxing promoter and manager because, our work evolves around events. And due to this COVID-19, events must be suspended till further notice because we don't know how the trend will go.
Daniel Esiedu owns a sports merchandise shop, Sportsnet. Since 1992, he's provided sporting equipment to individuals, schools, churches, and other entities. But for over a month now, the once patronized shop has been deserted. He has suffered unimaginable losses.
Okay, in fact, since the COVID started, our business, our sports business is like we deal with the clubs, the football clubs, the schools. They buy their volleyballs, soccer balls, their jerseys, and everything from us. So with this, we are having a problem because the churches also buy trophies for their competitions, their Bible competitions. They are also not functioning. The sports clubs, the Keep Fit clubs, they are all not functioning. So we are also not functioning because they are not buying. Nobody's doing anything, so we don't have anything. So we are also very, very hit hard. And we hope when there are issues and there are settlements with the companies, will be also considered as being hit with the COVID.
The fortunes of these individuals and their businesses depends on how well Ghana deals with the coronavirus pandemic. With no clear timelines in place, it is difficult to know what the future holds for Daniel and other investors in the sector. It appears for now that they can only go by the dictates of COVID-19.
That wraps it up for the sports segment, but we do have some more sports stories for you later on the second segment after 8 p.m. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and remember to stay safe.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, even as Ghana is preparing to take delivery of herbal medicines from Madagascar purported to be a cure for COVID-19, a Ghanaian-based herbal medicine producer, Amen Scientific, has been making claims it's found a cure. Dr. Eamon Bonsu says they have produced drugs which have proven to be effective in curing COVID-19 patients. He spoke in an interview with Roland Walker on the AM show on Joy News.
COVID-19 since it came, we also have done the rebel, what they call it, research into it, and see how we can manipulate these medicines and see how we can also go about it. Thanks to God, some people who fall on us and they have the symptoms to the extent that in USA somebody was on oxygen for 3 days. By God's grace, when he got hold of our medicine, now he's okay. That the difficulty in breathing, coughing, and all the symptoms now, by God's grace, has been relieved. He has been relieved of all the symptoms. And the one of them who early used it, as I say, I have this. He brought it from US. He tested positive, and now he's negative. So we believe that if you work effectively on our medicine, the whole organization GAFRAM has sent about 32 products to the ministry to be used in our medicine, including mine, which I'm talking about now. And so if the country would have been a bit fast and listening to us, especially, and have been involving us in the whole process, I think you would have been the first even to come out with medicine, rather not Madagascar.
A media briefing on COVID-19 Thursday, government indicated that the country will soon be taking delivery of the widely reported herbal drugs from Madagascar alleged to be a cure for COVID-19. Now, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abuaje, says the FDA will first have to do an independent assessment before a decision will be taken.
The Madagascar one, I believe that a quantity might be made available to the country, and I'm sure in collaboration with FDA, they have to do some assessment, and then we'll take it from there. And so I will not be able to say whether to be used or not, but I think there's been an offer that we can take a look at it. And so
while the African Union is in discussions with the Republic of Madagascar to obtain technical data regarding the safety and efficacy of its herbal remedy, Dr. John Inkengasong is director of the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
We, the African Union Commission, under the leadership of Excellency Commissioner Mira, and I met with the ambassador or the representative of the Embassy of Madagascar to ask for an opportunity to understand more what the remedy is about, and thirdly, to invite the scientists from Madagascar who are driving this process to join our technical working group, which is the African Task Force for Coronavirus Preparedness and Response, so that we can better understand what they've done, what the remedy is about, and they can share data with us. We are looking principally at 2 things. We are looking at safety data, and that they have generated. Secondly, we are looking at efficacy data. What exactly did they do? We know that Madagascar has very competent researchers, very competent public health experts, and we are sure that and convinced that in the coming days they will join, they will take our offer, and we'll sit down and look very carefully into what was done and what the results and outcome was, and then we will be able to understand and make the appropriate recommendation.
That's it.
Now, the first person to test positive for the novel coronavirus in the Bono region is a Togolese national who entered the country illegally. The regional minister has revealed the results of the test was received 2 days ago by the Regional Health Directorate, and over 70 contacts of the patient has been traced. The Bono Regional Director of Health, Dr. Kofi Issa, gave more details on News Desk with Ernest Menu.
Of April, the Ghana Immigration Service informed us they had arrested 10 people who had come into Ghana through unapproved routes through the German North District of the Bono region. And definitely they were handed over to the police and they were to be prosecuted. So they sent them to the court, and the court remanded them, I think, for a number of days. But then the immigration came with the request that in remanding them, they wanted to actually let us have their COVID-19. So we took the 10 samples from them and then sent them to the Kumasi Center for Laboratory Research. The results came back to us on the 6th of May, and out of the 10, 1 sample tested positive for the disease. The 9 others their samples were negative.
Okay, so let's talk about contact tracing for the people who might have come into contact with this person, the immigration officers, the police officers. Have you started that already? And are some people in isolation already?
Yeah, you know, we received the result through email on the 5th in the morning. So we immediately went to the district. We sent the result to a district. And, you know, each district is divided into sub-districts. So all the sub-district teams have contact tracing teams. They came together and started work on trying to actually identify the contact. Now, the district team went to support them, and the regional team also went to support them. So we have been there on the 5th and yesterday, and so far we've been able to trace 78. We have been able to identify 78 contacts. 61 of these are in the German North District in the Sampa area. 17 of them are in Brekum. For the fact that, you know, they had been brought to Brekum to court on 2 occasions. So that then makes it 78 contacts. The team is gone back again because we have to make sure that we are able to identify all the contacts, both those who interacted with the group for a very long time and casual.
It's been 4 months since Joy News and other multimedia groups platforms started the Arrive Alive campaign to help reduce road accidents through road safety education. The campaign has been welcomed by not only government but civil society groups, corporate Ghana and individuals. For Central Regional Minister Kwame Duncan, the Arrive Alive campaign could be the trump card to curbing the many road traffic accidents in Ghana, which claim over 2,000 lives annually. Now, 595 people have already been killed in the first quarter of this year alone. While applauding Joy News for this initiative, which he says is already making strides, Mr. Duncan believes with multimedia championing the campaign, it will surely achieve its set goal.
And I've had opportunity to watch a few of your docus that you've done. Persons who have been affected by the loss of their dear ones. And I recall, I think in the 90s, where 3 eminent surgeons,
urologists,
urologists, who together lost their lives on the Accra-Kumasi highway.
Around Linda Door.
Exactly, and the wife, one of the wives, I'm told that the tragedy simply did not even make her continue to even have any more husband. And I also listened to the children, all of it captured in the docu, the impact that it had on him and had on siblings and the family as a whole. To tell yourself that I have a business to transact and having free mind, free heart, I'm traveling across our route, across our towns, get to my destination and carry out a business, a transaction, and come back only for information to get back to the house that this is what has happened.
That you didn't arrive alive.
At all. It's one that comes with a certain level of devastation. Devastation. And Kwame, I want to pat you in particular on the back, and then your media conglomerate. Here I'm talking about the Joy Group.
Multimedia Group Limited,
There's a certain characterization with Joy FM and the Multimedia Group you don't give up, and eventually you achieve results. And that's what I'm seeing. In my small thinking, that this Arrive Alive thing, after the Obuasi, others have happened. Ketakrache has come up. Even my own stretch, you had church group from, I think, Fiokuma or Kwesiminti.
Yes, who were involved in the accident.
Yes. Here, and on the spot, 5 or so, or 6 or 7 died.
Yeah.
After the Obuasi one. And you were the ones who reported.
Yes.
Ketakrache came, you reported.
Yes.
Kumasi came, you reported.
Interpol has come.
And all of these, I said, so Joy, are they not going to give up? But rather strangely, not strangely because that's your character, that even when it is happening, you don't get disillusioned, you don't get despaired, that you still even elevate it. And that gladdens my heart. I want to pat all of you in this campaign, pat you on the back and pat Multimedia on the back. But I want to use this forum, this opportunity, to call on our citizens, to call on leadership of various sections of our society. Because if you are a reverend minister and the people are perishing, yes, yours is that you give them salvation. But probably if they had lived longer, they would have heard the word and they would have changed their ways.
That's right.
And received salvation.
That's right.
But it didn't happen. They lost their lives.
Yeah.
So it must be your headache. It must be your concern. And so I want to use this platform, big platform that you have given to me, that please, let's coalesce our minds on this. Let us join our strengths and forces together. The people who are driving and are dying, they are
one of us.
Church members. They are political party members. They come from certain traditional areas. They are us.
You're the Central Regional Minister, Kwamina Duncan there. And Aisha, back to you in the studio.
And it's #Arrive Alive. The Asokwa District Court in Kumasi has remanded into police custody 2 lovers who allegedly conspired to kill the woman's husband at Pameng in the eastern region. Mavis Bripo and Patrick Asari were arrested after an assassin they tried to contract on phone turned out to be the Menchia Divisional Police Commander. The 2 made their first appearance in court on Friday, and Nana Senso Mensah was there for Joy News.
His Worship Koko Achanwo-Usu, that is the judge who presided over this case, has remanded the 2 lovers, that is Patrick Asari and Mavis Bripo, into 2 weeks police custody. The case will be recalled on 21st May 2020.
The mood and expressions on the faces of the suspects depicted remorse as they made their way down the aisle into the witness box of courtroom 2. Police presence at the court premises was heavy to ensure high security as a large crowd tripped in to catch a glimpse of the accused persons. Police Chief Superintendent Kofi Blagoji read the charges. Presiding Judge, His Worship Koko Osu-Achanwo, did not take their plea but remanded the 2 suspects into police custody to reappear on 21st May 2020. Nana Senso Mensah reporting.
Activities of illegal miners at Dunkwa in the central region are thwarting efforts by traditional authorities to deal with perennial floods there. Persistent alluvial dredging of riverbeds and washing of sand for gold have narrowed the courses at various parts, causing siltation. A joint operation by small-scale miners and the National Anti-Galamsey Task Force has discovered many Changfang boats on the river Ofing. Nanaya Ojima highlights the risk of the rivers overflowing the banks when the rain sets in.
The dry season offers convenience for illegal miners to plunder the environment in search for gold, and the distraction is at a peak. The river, like others elsewhere in the country, is colored and unusable due to the unlawful activities of a few greedy people. A 2-day operation by Small-Scale Mining Task Force and Operation Vanguard, sponsored by the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, led by Professor Frimpong Boateng, saw about 130 Changfang machines destroyed. A lot more boats still sit on the river due to increased numbers of alluvial miners in the dry season. Bracey Ando leads the task force.
Today the operation has been a successful one because our brothers, the police from the Vanguard, they also came in and helped us. So this joint operation has been very successful for us today. Where we keep fighting, they will also go. Because if we stop today, they will come back. So as we keep fighting, I think they will also go.
The Shamfan boat has become popular, especially among illegal miners, as it provides both a platform and tool for dredging of waterbeds and sand washing. Both activities cause mud and siltation of the river. Okofrobo Obinyako II is Dunkwahine.
If the rains set in, the river floods after every downpour. The water cannot be used for any purpose now. It has become a major issue.
With heavy silt deposits in the middle of the river and narrowing of the course, the slightest downpour can cause perennial floods. The annual occurrence comes with loss of lives and property. Traditional authorities embarked on an exercise to desilt the river ahead of the rains, but the initiative is disrupted by defiant alluvial miners.
We went for some excavators to desilt the river. We did some work, but it could not correct the entire damage they've caused. So we have to adopt new means to deal with the problem, but their presence makes it difficult.
It will take drastic state measures to rid communities here of brazenness of the miners to curtail loss of lives and property to floods. From Dunkwao, for Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
As you may already know, industries are walking a tightrope due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but there are few others that have decided to lend a helping hand to the vulnerable. Wilma Africa Limited is one of those. They have partnered the Multimedia Group Limited to celebrate gallant mothers at the front lines of this pandemic. Nancy Emefa-Jodosi has more in this report.
Wilma Africa Limited, manufacturers of Parental, has for the past 10 years been one of the leading agro-business companies in Ghana involved in the refining, packaging and distribution of edible oils. However, in recent times, industries have taken a hit from the coronavirus pandemic, and Wilma is no exception. Patience Imperi is head of marketing.
Yes, the coronavirus has had an impact on all industries and even our industry as an FMCG. For Wilma Africa, we import some of our products. For instance, we import our fortune rice and baguettes here. And due to the closure of our borders and other stuff, we haven't been able to receive some of the orders that we placed, even though we have high demand for them.
Despite the challenges, the company says it will not relent in its effort to honor and celebrate frontline mothers as we celebrate Mother's Day.
He cares about people. Over the years, we always celebrate mothers because without mothers, we wouldn't be where we are currently. This year, for instance, we are particularly collaborating with multimedia to celebrate our mothers, especially the frontline workers, because we feel they've really done so well, putting their lives at danger just to make sure that everybody is fine, just to make sure that we are all safe out there. I mean, it's something that is laudable, and we are very proud to appreciate them today.
This is going to be done in partnership with Joy Prime. Channel coordinator Gladys Oseo-Redu has been explaining how your mother can be a part of this beautiful experience.
We're saying this time our frontline mothers have gone the extra mile to sacrifice something that you and I may not have because we are not within that category. And so let's give them that special recognition this time on Mother's Day. So what Joy Prime in partnership with Parental is doing is that we giving every frontline mother that opportunity to be especially celebrated. And so we're throwing out the challenge. We say all you have to do is tell us your story. What is that touching story of a frontline mother you know? We all are very much aware that we've had some mothers, health workers who have been infected in line of duty just by sacrificing to ensure somebody is saved from this deadly disease. And so a time like this, if we say we are celebrating mothers within that fraternity, I don't think it's really off the track.
Madam Patience Imperi shares some of the products that will be distributed to the gallant mothers.
Apart from our Parental, apart from Jama soup, apart from Alive soup, apart from Fortune rice, we have listened to you and we have introduced the new Parental sunflower oil, we have introduced the new Fortune margarine, and we have also introduced the new Parental seasoning to satisfy all your needs.
The Mother's Day celebration is on the theme, My Mother, My Hero.
Oil marketing company Petrosol has supported some health facilities across the country with PPEs and medical consumables worth 100,000 Ghana cedis. Head of Marketing and Strategy, Kwesi Ziga, says 10 hospitals across the country are expected to benefit from the gesture as they work to save lives in the wake of COVID-19. Agape Kweno has more in the following report.
With about 83 filling stations dotted across the country, Petrosol prides itself with providing clean fuel to its consumers. Aside placing importance on providing quality services, Head of Marketing and Strategy, Kwesi Ziga, says the company recognizes the tireless efforts of health workers in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. This has prompted them to distribute surgical gowns, N95 and surgical face masks, latest gloves, full body gear, rubbing alcohol, and hand sanitizers to health facilities.
We are here today because Petrosol cares. We are a socially responsible company. We know what's going on. As you know, we are in an era of COVID-19 pandemic. So we know that there's so much pressure on the medics, on the medical staff across all the hospitals. So as much as we are applauding them, we are cheering them for the good job they are doing, we also deem it fit to come in and support them. So Petrosol put together PPEs and medical supplies worth 100,000 Ghana cedis. So this is what we are doing to say that we care. We care for our people. We care for our medics who are saving life daily. In addition to that, we have also made available 5 pickups, okay? Pickups to deliver these items, okay? We fuel them with drivers. We have fuel stations across the country in various communities. So we have identified selected hospitals who are in dire need of these medical supplies and PPEs. So these items will be going to them through our delivery pickups.
Petrosol is urging the general public to continue to comply with all precautions till COVID-19 is entirely eradicated.
We are urging people to just comply, okay? To just comply with these basic safety tips. Make sure when you are not feeling well, you don't go out. Make sure, in case you have to go out, make sure you are in your nose mask, and make sure you wash your hands. And to demonstrate our commitment, we have provided safety and PPEs and other safety materials to our stations. So you can see our station staff, properly dressed up in their various PPEs so that they protect themselves, okay, first and foremost. In addition to that, they also protect customers who are coming to Petrosol stations across the country for service.
Kwesi Ziga added that Petrosol has fueled 5 pickups to distribute the item to selected hospitals. Medical Superintendent of the Lekma Hospital, Dr. Ikuya Jima Asante, who received the items, commended Petrosol and all other organizations who continue to support frontliners.
I'd like to say a very big thank you to Petrosol on behalf of Lekma Hospital for this donation. I can assure them that this will boost the morale of frontline workers in the hospital, and we will give off our best, knowing very well that we are really protected with these PPEs. I would like to use this opportunity to also appeal to all social and corporate bodies to come to our aid, to support us in the form of PPEs, and I'm sure that together we can beat COVID-19 pandemic as a nation. We need to keep on with the campaign. So if you have a shop, you have like this petrol station, even as the clients come in, you could remind them of these messages so that we all are aware that we still have the pandemic to fight, so that we do not take things lightly and have a rebound of the cases. So everybody has to get the message. If we continue to do this, we will see a decline in our cases.
Agape Queen's report for Joy News.
And to some politics, some executives of the New Patriotic Party at Kwadaso in the Ashanti region have petitioned the party's National Executive Committee over alleged double delegates album. The party executives want NEC to swiftly intervene and settle the ongoing brouhaha and install unity among members. They say after agreeing to clean up and use the 2013 album for the upcoming primaries, another role has emerged. This, according to them, has the potential to create confusion. Nana Senso-Mensah has more in the following report.
We only know of one delegate album. 2018. And one delegate album only. 2018. And all the delegates and coordinators in that album are hardworking members of the party. Any attempt to diabolically twist our arms will be fiercely resisted.
The petitioners want party leaders to swiftly intervene to avert any unpleasant situations. At a press conference, polling station secretary for Siobo electoral area Samuel Ampofo said attempts by regional executives to address the issue have proven futile.
We are the foot soldiers of the party. And we say this with all the seriousness that it deserves. That's all. Majority of the coordinators who work directly with the executives and therefore have an in-depth knowledge about the album, presented a petition to the party, to the regional chairman, regarding the behavior of the constituency chairman and his executives on this album matters and other issues. But whether they are going to be called to be given audience is left to God to decide.
Nana Senso-Mensah reporting.
If you just joined us, we're still live on Joy News Prime. There is more when we return from this break.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Joy News Prime. Time to bring you some more business news. Now, the ban on social gatherings due to COVID-19 is severely impacting on event management and organizing. Revenue losses due to cancellation of conferences, weddings, funerals and workshops running to millions of Ghana cedis. Hotels and other institutions which host such events have their share of the pinch. Professor Pierre has been exploring this issue in today's Business Journal.
Hello. So, how has the COVID-19 affected your marriage plans?
We were scheduled to get married on the 21st of March. That was the week that the president declared the social distance ban, and it affected us because we had to cancel.
Oh, okay, Jennifer. Thank you very much for the call. Jennifer is one of the many people who have had to cancel their weddings because of the COVID-19. In this story, we'll be speaking to some of the allied service providers in the event organizing industry to understand how decisions like this affect their businesses. Weddings and related events are often handled by professionals who depend on them to make a living. Event organizer Lillian Boama Teria manages Hank 2109 Enterprise. Her outfit was compelled to return advance payment for scheduled events to clients.
Our calendar was booked for almost half of the year before the pandemic hit the country. And so we've cancelled about, I would say, 10 events. And these are events that were huge. And because of the cancellation, we've had to refund part of their monies to them. And that has been a blow for us because we have employees as well that we take care of. And without a steady flow of income now, it means that the resources that we've reserved are the same ones that we are using to refund our clients as well as take care of our employees. Well, so now we've had to lay off our employees because we cannot pay them. There's no jobs at the moment.
Allied services providers like disc jockeys, MCs, public address and sound renters, decorators and photographers are all locked down.
Last-minute cancellation of contracts leaves individuals like young photographer Enoke J in financial limbo.
For this past 1.5 months, people have been cancelling their, all contracts have been cancelled, some are on hold too, especially we having some projects to do, especially some advertising shows we need to do. The clients are like, they can't invest that much money because they don't know what's happening, so it is making things a little difficult for us.
And what we do is we organize weddings and parties here, and then we do fun games for kids and other stuff.
Safar Gardens is an event space and recreational center in Kumasi. Before COVID-19, hardly did a weekend pass without one activity or the other here. The current debt situation is a far cry from the period preceding the outbreak of the pandemic. Yabrefo Ajimai is chief executive.
Every Saturday there's a wedding here, and they pay like 3,000, 4,000 for the gowns. We also have other programs that we do every month, like a corporate Friday where we gather all the corporate people in Kumasi to come here, listen to live band, and enjoy. All these programs are off. Some even came in to make a deposit, and they've even come back for their money.
Mr. Brefo had invested over $10,000 in this facility in readiness for Easter, which virtually never was.
We were planning to use them for a program during the Easter holidays, so we just acquired them. And unfortunately, when it came, this COVID came in, and you could see that the appealing of, because it's in on the sun, and if we are not careful, we are losing the investment that we've done. Together with the transfers, it will be like $15,000. They are just wasting away. Because all the events that were planned for it, because of this thing, because of the COVID, we've not been able to do it. And
apart from renting an event ground like Safar Gardens, some prefer hotels and their spaces. Jemfua Owusu Chow is the owner of Royal Lameta Hotel.
First, when the president announced it on the 9th, by 11th we had cancelled 41 conferences and workshops. It spanned between March and July. So we had this wedding activities and all those things. We have to stop everything. We've lost a lot. Not less than maybe 500,000 Ghana cedis. Not less than.
How long these businesses in the event organizing chain remain crippled, or how early they bounce back, depends on persistence or otherwise of COVID-19 and government response.
That report was filed by Prince Apia. Now, a global movement to support communities and individuals affected by coronavirus has been launched in Accra. Known as Giving Tuesday Challenge, the movement is calling for government and corporate bodies to mobilize some support to needy communities in critical times.
Giving Tuesday Ghana is responding to the needs of the affected individuals, families, and communities in this time of the pandemic. We are calling on foundations, philanthropies, and NGOs to join this global movement to celebrate the Giving Challenge, where you can support any person in need who is in your community or in your organization. This day is taking place on 5th of May 2020, which is going to be in addition to the December 1st, 2020, which is the general day that Giving Tuesday is also going to be observed in Ghana. Responding to the need of an individual or a neighbor, or giving a gift or any item in kind. You can also, in your own way, support a community through giving any item that can also support them because of the impact of the pandemic. We are calling on all philanthropies organizations to join this movement and just be part of the challenge. Just take an item, take something that you want to give to any society or to an individual or someone you know, and then take a picture of that and post on Giving Tuesday Ghana Facebook, and then we follow up on you. And we believe that from this time to the end of the pandemic, we can all respond to solving the challenge that the pandemic has impacted on the needs of individuals in Ghana.
And finally, a look at how we are ending the week on the commodity market. Yes, my name is Daryl Kwao. Have a great weekend, everyone. Sports is up next.
Thank you for staying with us on the second hour of the sport. I'm Gary Al Smith. And would you believe it? It's already 19 years since the infamous May 9 Stadium disaster. And ahead of the anniversary, former CEO of Asante Kotoko, Herbert Mensah, has donated items and cash to family members of victims. Here's a report by Joy Sports' Asari Bediako.
Every year, a memorial service is organized for the 126 fans who lost their lives during a Ghana Premier League game involving Hatzefolk and Asante Kotoko at the Accra Sports Stadium on May 9, 2001. Celebrating the dead is commendable, but the welfare of family members of victims matters more. For 19 years, only one person has led a campaign to provide support for family members of victims of the May 9 Stadium disaster. Herbert Mensah, who was Chief Executive Officer of Asante Kotoko at the time of the tragedy, has donated wheelchairs, food items and toiletries to families of victims. Beneficiaries in Accra and Kumasi took turns to thank the Ghana Rugby president for the kind gesture. In an interview with Joy Sports, Herbert Mensah explained why families of the May 9 Stadium disaster are dear to his heart.
This is something I chose from the minute that the disaster happened. I haven't joined recently. I have not been part of a group. It was spontaneous, as spontaneous as that day, that midweek day when we had to rush across the field and witness what we witnessed, a scene that I would not like anybody to ever have to witness. The bodies, the blood, the crushed bones, and to pick up lifeless bodies and to take them down so they could be taken to hospital, and then to visit later and then see that some of them have passed away. 1 is bad, 2 is bad. 96 were at 37 Military Hospital. So to live that and then to go to the homes of many, not all, but many of the families, and to see the tears, the distress, the pain, the anguish, the inability to understand what lay in their future for their lives, and to keep in touch with many over the years, is something that for me was worth.
So as we look at the impact of COVID-19 across the world, we know that European players have been coming out to say they have been affected. But what about Africa? And that is what we are looking at. African-based players who have contracted the virus. Now, in Africa, right now, as of 2 hours ago, 55,000 cases of COVID-19 have been reported. 2,073 of those have died. 18,412 people have recovered, and 53 African countries have reported cases. Only one is virus-free, and that is Lesotho. With that background, it's interesting to note that only 3 African players have been reported. The first one was this guy, Omar Zakri from Tunisia, who plays for Ben Guerdani. He's a forward. He got it from his grandmother. His entire family also had COVID-19. And then Ahmed Berish is a goalkeeper for Libyan side Al Khums. He also contracted the virus. And then the third person was confirmed only about 48 hours, within the last 48 hours. Ben Mochwari of South Africa plays for Orlando Pirates, and he is a midfielder. These are the only 3 reported cases that we know in a continent of over 1 billion people. Hopefully we don't get any more. But yeah, that's the sport for now. I'm Gary Al Smith. Thank you for your time. Let's do this again next week.
Time now for the interactive segment, and you may be following the updates on the Ghana Health Service website with our case count with COVID-19, which is now 4,012. We posted this a while ago on our page, and imagine how many comments. 109 comments, 42 shares, 268. I mean, this is less than 1 hour since we posted this on our Facebook page. Let's look at some of the comments coming in. Raish said, data and science not working. Ken Kala says, so those people who got the virus for over a month now, no, how are we treating them? The thing is not that scary in Ghana. And Francis Edinam Ekbo says, what is Ghana still waiting for? COVID organic herbal drink from Madagascar is performing the magic. Parkway Sisiama says the Ministry of Health website also says that between the last updates on May 4 and the current update, a total of 921 additional cases have been recorded. Or 50% of those cases were as a result of an outbreak in an industrial facility with 1,300 workers, of which 533 have been confirmed positive. But this media network decided to eliminate this. But I mean, if you go there, you can read. I mean, we choose what we want to post on our Facebook page. If you want the full details, you can go to the Ghana Health Service page and get all of that. It also has 18 deaths and a number of people who have recovered who are also on that the Ghana Health Service page. So if you want more, you can go there and read. But for now, this is what we want to post on our Facebook page. And says, so where from these 921 people, are they from those who were contact traced, or these are new cases from people who were walking freely on our streets? You can't just give the figures and leave them like that. 921 cases within how many days? Unbelievable. Nana Pipra Frimpon says, this government, and Isuma Abdul Momin says, these figures are being cooked, really. Paul Ahedo says, serious so, and Benjamin Edu says, somebody is hiding somewhere releasing the figures, but in God we trust. Justice Annan says, we have a long way to go. I'm hoping you could hear me this time, Israel. 4,012. That's where we are now.
Yeah, so Aisha, in the case, a lot of people, virtually everybody else has been asking the question, where are these numbers coming from, the 921? So that information is available on the Ghana Health Service COVID-19 website, and I'm going to share that with you. And I've noticed that a number of people have posted that as well. So it says, between the last update on May 4, 2020 and the current update, a total of 921 additional cases have been recorded. Over 50% of these cases were as a result of an outbreak in an industrial facility with 1,300 workers, of which 533 have been confirmed positive. And then it adds, over the same period, 20 more recoveries have been reported. So this is the issue, and a lot of people are also asking, which industrial facility has this 1,300 workers, of which 533 have been confirmed positive? And the question is also, at the time that the Ghana Health Service was giving the update on Thursday, which is yesterday, didn't they know that there was this backlog that they were going to share with us? So there are lots of questions, but indeed, it's only fair that or it's prudent that we all take good care of ourselves and wear the mask and avoid crowds, wash our hands with soap and the running water and all that. So yeah, Aisha.
Very important, very important. And for those questions, I think we should just wait for Ghana Health Service to provide the answers. They are genuine questions, but we don't have the answers. And that'll be it for the bulletin. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. I did this with...
All right. And thank you for watching. I'm Israel Live. Have a good night.